All right, hello everyone. We've got the Iveco in the workshop in all its glory, and we can finally dive into that promised full A to Z conversion. So please make yourselves comfortable. We're about to begin. Today, we're going to show you exactly how to insulate a van. What will we need for this project?
So we're definitely going to need some anti-vibration material, and then we also have this 15mm insulation, K-Flex. And this is the sheep's wool that we're going to put into these BAMs. And now we're going to show you, demonstrate how to do it. The anti-vibration material is essentially comprised of these boards. It's a self-adhesive material, a self-adhesive panel designed to absorb the vibrations from the metal sheet. So we'll cut it into smaller pieces, roughly into squares or other suitable shapes. We'll need approximately 3 of these panels, and then we'll demonstrate how to apply it.
For a small area like this, right in the center will be quite sufficient.
This material is put in there so that we are able to soundproof that sheet metal when we bang it. So when it comes to these larger areas, and with this approach, we'll actually complete the whole car. So, once we've positioned this anti-vibration material, it's crucial to press them down as carefully as possible onto the chassis. So by doing that, we'll achieve
that it will adhere perfectly there.
Alright, so so here's a practical demonstration. If we cut just one of these sheets and then place it on the scale, I'm not sure if you can see this very clearly. I'll try to adjust the camera focus like this. Then we'll see that we have 696. 0.696, which means that's 3/4 of a kilogram. We actually use 4 sheets for that car, so now we have 3.5 kilos in the car.
but you could easily fit many sheets there. Can't recall our exact calculation, but if you truly wanted to have it completely covered everywhere, leaving absolutely no tiny spot untouched, then you would easily go through 100 sheets just for this. That's an enormous sum of money, and it's entirely pointless. Well, so this is how we have already got it nicely covered. If you have even one small piece of this STP anti-vibration material, then save it. You'll definitely discover in some future episodes what else we'll use this little square for, so definitely save it. I recommend it. It will come in handy.
Alrighty then.
The big advantage of this K-Flex material is that it cuts incredibly well. You just need to run a knife over it like this and you get a beautifully clean edge. The drawback, however, is that after making just about 5 cuts, your blade will simply become completely dull. So you'll either have to grab a brand new knife or take the time to properly sharpen your current one.
So we're going to cut the K-Flex like this. It has a self-adhesive layer. It has a self-adhesive layer. And we're going to stick it up. We'll also be sticking it right onto the ceiling. So that's something that still needs to be completed before the actual gluing process. So before the actual bonding, as I've already mentioned, you absolutely must clean the vehicle's bodywork to ensure it's completely free of grease. For our purposes, we're using a specific surface cleaner from Bürstner here, so we'll just spray it on nicely like this. Let's wipe it off.
Exactly right.
We will, of course, make sure to thoroughly wipe down and clean every single bit of that entire area. It would also be good, Yoni, when you're doing this, if you do it somewhere with a stable temperature, okay? It doesn't matter if it's 10 above zero. Of course, Tambe Tanze, room temperature is ideal. We have around 20 degrees here. If you're applying it outside in freezing temperatures, or if you're sweating and your car fogs up, it will fall off. So Texe, you really need to give that insulation care, and if you clean it thoroughly, the metal sheet is dry, not damp, then it should hold, right? The manufacturer guarantees it should hold, but we also know from our own experience, we'll spray some adhesive in a few places. It's a spray adhesive specifically designed for these foams. It's actually a contact adhesive intended for these foams. We only want to make absolutely sure that it simply won't fall off anywhere. Even though we ourselves don't really have a problem with it falling, many people quite often write to us saying that theirs does fall. So we're going to nicely apply this contact adhesive all over it. Carfax Akiasa, it's contact adhesive for this, but they don't make it available in a spray. It's much harder to work with that way. So we found another spray adhesive, and this one is from Bernardo. We found this contact spray specifically designed for these foams, so that's what we're using for the job. Once you've applied the spray, it's essential to let it ventilate and air out for about 3 or 4 minutes. Currently, it's still quite sticky. It absolutely must not be sticky, you see. So of course, it depends. It depends on your ambient temperature. But if you have a temperature of around 20 degrees room temperature, then within 3 or 4 minutes, it should be completely fine. All right, let's peel off this layer. For protection, I'll just check this over. Well, it's already starting to dry, but we'll leave it for a bit longer, because if you try to stick it onto wet glue, then it's simply going to peel right off. It's absolutely essential to let it dry out. It must not be like this. It simply must not. You'll see, first of all, when you touch its surface, no fingerprint should appear, and it needs to be just so. It's still quite sticky. It absolutely must not be sticky at all. You should, when you make contact, feel there's some adhesive present, but it shouldn't actually stick. It shouldn't be completely ready yet. I'd give it another minute.
And then we'll stick the insulation itself there. So I have a feeling it'll be good. So
we will load, we will measure.
I always start from one side to get it perfectly aligned with the window.
All right then. We're going to stick it like this.
We'll tack it down carefully again so it won't stick, and we'll do the whole ceiling like this, or even the entire car. I'm going to start gluing, then we'll see what's next. All right, we've completed the insulation, specifically the K-Flex material, but we're not quite finished yet. We'll show you what we're doing next.
This is how an insulated van looks.
So we've managed to insulate all of these major surfaces. This was done using 15mm K-Flex material, and as you can see, all of these large surfaces are now beautifully insulated. Next, we still need to focus on insulating all of these smaller cavities. Basically, any areas that the K-Flex can't quite reach, we'll insulate them like this.
Still, as if to moisten with cotton, or with cotton.
Let me show you. All right, we actually insulate this with sheep's wool. It's a natural material, completely non-absorbent, so it's absolutely perfect for filling those cavities. It doesn't retain moisture. This isn't just any material. It's not some scratchy fiberglass insulation. It's simply pure sheep's wool. It is industrial grade, of course, but it's wonderfully soft and incredibly pleasant to the touch.
It won't scratch, it won't irritate, and what's key, it's non-absorbent. So for our purposes, it's absolutely ideal. We'll now demonstrate how we actually place it in there. It's extremely important to cut the wadding into strips for each of the individual.
We must slide it into those individual ribs, but what's of utmost importance is that it simply mustn't be completely crammed in. It needs to be left so the wadding stays like this. We'll show you that once we get it in there. I'm on it. Oh, and before we start pushing that wadding in, we'll go and tap the car in a few different places. I'm not sure if it's easy to see. It's already quite dark from the side, but this is already the stipai, the rubber material, and K-Flex insulation is also glued everywhere on these surfaces, so the car feels like this. Yes, you hear it, the car is so nicely soundproofed, whereas in this section we haven't put anything yet because a window will still be installed here. You can hear it for yourselves when the van isn't insulated at all, what kind of noise does it make, but here you can hear it for yourselves. It's a completely different matter, so there you have it. So even though we only applied small strips of that rubber soundproofing material, as you yourselves witnessed, to those large surfaces, that's more than enough for us to effectively soundproof the car. But there's really no need to overdo it because the more you put in, first of all, it costs more money, but most importantly, you're adding weight that you'll eventually find you're missing. That's the most crucial thing we're actually dealing with here. Always this weight. It's easy to say a kilo here, a kilo there, but ultimately you need the highest possible payload, and you achieve that through these very moments by not stuffing in an extra 100 kilos completely unnecessarily when this is perfectly sufficient. So enough rambling. Let's get right into it. We'll further insulate it with that wadding or sheep's wool, to be precise. So we'll take a scalpel now and cut some strips. It cuts just like the rubber. It cuts like rubber flex insulation, similar to other insulations. It's almost it's a type of rubber material. It's covered with aluminum foil, and it's self-adhesive, and it's actually a closed cell structure, so it won't absorb any water, which makes it perfect for insulation purposes. I believe most van conversion builders are already using this type of insulation. Yeah, it's just, it's really easy to work with. This is an absolutely superb material to work with. The most important thing about it is quite simply that it adheres to the metal sheet and no air pockets are left anywhere. So when you have it properly adhered to the metal sheet, the better it sticks, the less a dew point forms underneath, which is highly undesirable. And you can see it when you walk through a campsite in winter or just somewhere where vans are parked below ski slopes, those that are heating inside and are poorly insulated or more or less only have their exterior surfaces insulated, you can clearly see on those vehicles the areas where heat is escaping because the car isn't actually frosted over there and there are dry spots. So you can clearly see the cars where they have reinforcements. We didn't do that before either. We only used this K-Flex. We thought that was enough, because wood paneling is actually added on top. So we figured an air pocket also insulates. So we said, like, there's no need to put anything in those drops. Creative for years, we did it that way. Practically 10 years, we did it just like this, and we didn't even put anything in there. And we recently discovered this sheep's fleece, so we began to apply it there. We've been putting it in place for 3 years now, yes, 3 whole years. And I truly notice when we're standing outside in the winter that it makes a significant difference. It feels like it's still quite necessary, or at least it definitely improves things. I'm not suggesting that you absolutely have to put it there. It functions perfectly well even without it. Although if you just put it in there, then probably nothing bad will happen, right? You just really need to make sure you place it in such a way that it's not all squashed, so it can simply maintain its natural softness. Well, if you then cram it in there like stones, I'm afraid it will lose all its insulating properties and actually be practically useless. So if someone thinks that more is better, the opposite is true. Just yes, put it in, but let it be natural. Simply, as it's naturally puffed up, try to press it in as little as possible.
All right then, let's get to it.
We'll show you how to cut this insulation, and it's very simple. I've already prepared a batten to the exact width of the cavities, so I always place it right on the edge of the insulation, a batten that already sets the width of the joists. Then I pull Yeah, you see how beautifully, how cleanly it cuts right through. It's really not anything terribly complicated at all. Your knife will get dull on you pretty quickly, so you'll just grab a brand new one in a little while. If you're a bit more skilled, you can always sharpen it yourself.
Right, this is how you beautifully cut strips.
Okay, that's enough for now.
So we'll fit this into the pocket, then we'll carefully place it onto the stick, and with a simple motion like this, we'll slide it right in. All right, so as you can clearly see, it's looking quite solid overall. We'll just slide this right over to the other side now. There we go. In. You can easily observe this for yourselves. We've successfully filled this support beam, but we haven't overpacked or forced it in. So it's truly very pleasant to work with this. There's no real need for anything else, honestly. I'll just take it from the other side so you can see it much better. It's truly very pleasant to work with this.
So really, you just need to slide it in like this. You don't need to press anything, just tighten it, then gently slide it in. Okay, and it flies beautifully. So we have some length here. We'll just snip it off like this.
Well, this K-Flex, you simply can't do it here, unfortunately. As I said, you probably don't need to add anything else, or it's not entirely necessary, but once you put it in, then you get such a good feeling that you've done your absolute best for it. Well, we're putting it in like this now. You just slide it in so nicely. I could have set the bar higher, but it moves so beautifully like this. So
even if we give it a little bit of a push in that direction, it will eventually arrive there, right?
Yeah, this is either going to fit perfectly, or it's not going to. You're going to find that you'll be missing a small piece right here. Well, I suppose that's probably enough of these little viewing holes.
I'll cut the rest of the pieces.
I'll scatter them there.
Okay, so the car is insulated, and for now that's it. What's coming up next? Next we'll show you how to cut out the windows. We'll run the wiring, put up the awning, and lay the floor. So I think there's still a lot of work to do. So now we have to measure everything. We still need to meet with the client to precisely decide what goes where, to make sure it all fits, because there will be some larger motorcycles here. So the garage needs to be enormous, almost 2 meters 70 in length. It will be a big challenge to create some sleeping space in front of it, because there won't be any sleeping area above the motorcycles. Sleeping will only be in the front section, so we must plan a bed up front, bikes in the rear. When you add it up, the length won't fit, but we'll just have to deal. So, and I really think you'll have something exciting to look forward to. If you're interested in how we're building these cars right here, then please subscribe and give us a like. Or if you'd like to try doing it all yourselves, you can definitely purchase all of these materials that we've been working with here right on our eShop. I've already mentioned in some of my previous videos that you'll receive a 5% discount from us. So if you just enter the special code that's located right below this video, you'll get a nice little discount on your order. It's not a huge amount, but it's certainly something to get you started. Well, let's also talk a bit about the weight. Overall, we added 4 kilograms, just under 4 kilos of that STP, the anti-vibration material. Then we added 18 square meters of 15 millimeter K-Flex, and then we also added 3 meters from the 1 meter wide roll, specifically the usual 3 meters of sheep's wool, which we then put into the structural ribs. Right now we've got the insulation done. We've added about 20 kilograms of extra weight to the vehicle, which is a good thing, but of course many more items will be added, so we'll have to see where we ultimately end up. We would really like to get the total weight under 3 tons. That's my personal dream, to keep it under 3 tons so that the payload capacity is at least 500 kilograms, and so that it can be driven at least a little, at least somewhat reasonably around. Okay, if you've managed to stick around and watch all the way to here, I really want to thank you for that. I'll see you again next week for another video. So, bye for now.